We are live, Chisme. I don't know if anyone's coming. Let me hear you. Chisme.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Good. You sound good. Okay. We'll wait a couple of minutes. Huh? Hello. What'd you say? Hello, everyone. Chisme, are you talking or no? I don't hear you anymore. I think we're too dysfunctional to try to pull a stream off in the morning. Hey, Zuelga. Yeah, Chisme's having problems. How are you? I'll give her a couple more minutes and then I want to get into these updates. On Nicola and Lindsay Clancy. Oh, that really shook me last night. Hey, Merrick. Hey, CK. How are you? Thank you, Zul. Yeah, Chisme's having problems, but it's okay. We're going to start this video in a second with Lindsay Clancy when she did her arraignment from her hospital bed. And if I don't get these updates out today, it's going to interfere with the Brian Koberger Chronicles tonight. All right, let's just give her. Hey, written in the stars. Oh, hello. Hey, Jess. Really? Did you get hacked? You're not connected. There you go. Mic check. Hey, Jennifer. I know, guys, it's very strange to be live at this time. Let me hear you, Chisme. Chisme. I don't hear you. Hey, Elisa. I know, right? Shocking.
Hello.
Oh, you sound good. Can you hear me? I like that name, Jess, or written in the stars. Okay, Chisme's having difficulties, but we are going to get into this. Have any of you seen Lindsay Clancy's arraignment from her hospital bed? The lady in Massachusetts who strangled her 3 children and then jumped out the window? Can you hear me, Chisme? We have a ghost. I don't think it's Chisme, guys. I think we've been hacked. Oh. All right, let me turn off this little bit of music. Obviously, Chisme's ignoring us. Okay, guys, this is a total trigger warning, too. I was actually shocked at all the planning that went into this day. That's weird, Jess. Maybe if you write to YouTube on Twitter.
On Friday, January.
Okay. Thank God. All right, guys, here we go. I was going to do a video on this, but I was so upset that the video probably would have taken me 6 days to get it done. And then Nicola had the latest update yesterday. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a morning live and see if I can't pull it off. I hacked you, Jess. All right, here we go, guys. Ooh, I was shocked over this. Okay.
And the potential penalty. On Friday, January 27th, 2023, using an erasable whiteboard because she was still temporarily intubated.
Can you guys hear that okay? Drop your link, Jess. Oh, I have to, hang on one second, Jess. Let me find you.
You've got to try these full spectrum infused gummies.
One sec, Jess. Okay. Can you guys hear that okay? If you can't, tell me. Okay, here we go, guys.
One of the first questions that Lindsay Clancy asked was, do I need an attorney? She knew that she I think the following is a summary of the events that led to murders of Cora Clancy, Dawson Clancy, and Callan Clancy. On the morning of Tuesday, January 24th, 2023, the defendant took her 5-year-old daughter Cora to the pediatrician's for an appointment. She interacted with a receptionist, nursing staff, and a doctor. There were apparently no issues with the defendant's demeanor or behavior as she completed the appointment and was allowed to leave with Cora without any issues. When she returned home, she went outside with Cora and a 3-year-old son, Dawson, to play in the snow. They built a snowman. The defendant sent photos to her mother and to her husband. She texted with back inside later that day at 4:02 p.m. On her phone, kids were relaxed. She then searched at Takeout 3V.
The best caregivers in Maine are finding the most rewarding careers with Woodlands.
Hang on one second. You okay, Chisme? Don't mind the dysfunction, guys. I'm going to do it this way so that we have, I put the program in the StreamYards, but I think it's a little laggy. So let me just go to the channel.
That's without bail. The fact children, and she had the clarity, focus, and mental acumen to focus on protecting her own rights and interests. The following is a summary of the events that led to the murders of Cora Clancy, Dawson Clancy, and Callan Clancy. On the morning of Tuesday, January 24th, 2023, the defendant took her 5-year-old to the pediatrician. She interacted with a receptionist, nursing staff, and a doctor. There were apparently no issues with the defendant's demeanor or behavior as she completed the appointment and was allowed to leave with Cora without any issues or concerns. When she returned home, she went outside with Cora and a 3-year-old son, Dawson, to play in the snow. They built a snowman. The defendant sent photos to her mother and with them. At 2 p.m., the defendant searched on her phone kids' Miralax. She then searched the takeout 3V via her.
Look at how beautiful those kids are. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, what happened. Me, myself, I never went through psychosis but for her, it's like it was planned out. I mean, if you were having a moment of psychosis, wouldn't you just like snap or something? I'm going to have to look into that a little more. Do you guys think that she's sedated here? Or do you think that she's just unbelievable? Unbelievable.
Cell phone at 4:13 p.m. Immediately after the restaurant in next one is Miralax. The manager told her no, but they had other similar medications. According to the manager of CVS, her voice did not sound slurred or impaired in any way. She had no trouble understanding the defendant, and it was a perfectly normal conversation. At 4:53 p.m., the defendant texted her husband, who was working in his home office in their basement. She texted, "Any chance you want to do takeout from 3V? I didn't cook anything. It's been a long day." This was an unusual request, as when the family ordered takeout, they'd usually go somewhere closer to home, but it was a place that they had been in the past. Patrick Clancy texted back yes, and then the defendant asked him to check the menu. At 5:06 p.m., the husband texted the defendant asking what she was going to get. She responded, "A Mediterranean power bowl." She spelled it correctly, and it was something that was on the menu. He then told her that he wanted the scallop and pork belly risotto. At 5:10 p.m., the defendant called 3V Restaurant to place the order. The order correct. She gave the correct name for pickup, Patrick. The hostess who took the call said there was nothing out of the ordinary about this call. She was able to understand the defendant, that her voice was not slurred or impaired in any way. At 5:15 p.m., Patrick Clancy headed out the door to run these errands at the defendant's request. As he left, she texted him Pedialyte liquid stool softener. Surveillance footage shows Mr. Clancy at CVS on Summer Street in Kingston at 5:32 p.m. He goes to the medication aisle, the children's medication aisle. Phone records show that he called the defendant at 5:33 p.m. and she did not answer the phone. He then calls him back at 5:34 p.m. and the clock 15 seconds. He's there at the store, unsure of which medication to get, communicating with her, although he did mention that she seemed like she missed something. He is on surveillance footage during this time, exiting that aisle and appearing his phone. He then heads to the register, makes his purchase, and leaves at 7 p.m. He's next seen on footage at 3V Restaurant at 5:54 p.m. He picks up the food and he's out of there within a minute. When he arrives home, first thing he noticed was the silence. He did not see or hear the defendant or the children. He actually called her cell phone at 6:09 p.m. looking for them, and she did not answer. He went to their bedroom on the second floor and the door was locked. He was able to open it, and when he looked inside, he saw blood on the floor in front of a full-length mirror and the window open. He immediately ran.
If you have
where he finds it on the ground. She appeared to have cuts on her wrists and neck, but he stated to 911 that those wounds were no longer bleeding. She was conscious. He called 911.
Unbelievable. I mean, she cuts at her wrist and then she jumps out the window. I can't. This is so triggering, guys. What comes next? I couldn't even listen to this 911 call if it was released. Absolutely. Just horrible. And the fact that when she first started talking, she didn't even ask about anything about the kids. She just said, "Do I need a lawyer?" Like, what am I missing?
During this time, he asked the defendant, "What did you do?" Immediately after this happened, she knew what she had done and she knew where the kids were. When EMS arrived, he asked them to stay with her so he could go find his kids. The 911 call kept going. Patrick can be heard on the 911 call entering the home and heading to the basement. At one point, he calls out, "Guys." He can then be heard screaming in agony and shock as he found his children. His screams seem to get louder and more agonized as the time passes. Cora and Callan were on the floor in the den area of the finished basement, which is to the left when you walk down the stairs, while Dawson was alone on the floor in his father's home office, which is to the right when you go down the stairs. Each child still had the exercise bands that was used to strangle them tied around their necks.
Exercise bands. I mean, can you imagine? I did not know that, Jess, either, until I watched this yesterday, and I thought, she cut her, and he said, but they were no longer bleeding. I don't know, CK, but it's going to get a little bit deeper about what they talk about when they went through her phone and they find some little memos that she put in there, and it's very disturbing.
Dawson and Callan were face down on the floor. Cora was on her side with her torso turned towards the floor. He removed the bands and begged them to breathe. He continued to scream.
Feel better, sassafras. I had COVID for like 3.5 weeks and didn't even know I had it until like the last 4 days.
Come to the basement. Callan was med flighted to Boston Children's Hospital. Medical staff was able to restart his pulse, but not his brain activity. He was placed on life support for several days before passing away.
I mean, that little baby was 9 months old. And she puts exercise bands around his neck. I just... this poor man is probably going to be in therapy for the rest of his life. But remember, he wants us to forgive Lindsay because it was not her. But then you hear all of this planning, and I don't know what to think about this, to be honest with you guys. I have it makes me feel sick is what it makes me feel, but like no opinion. I don't know if I could forget somebody who strangled my 3 kids. That would be pretty hard.
The defense detailed her daily activities, her children's lives, her mental state, and her medication use. Her writing was clear, precise, and articulate. She never indicated that she was hallucinating, delusional, or had disordered thought or speech. All she is the note on her phone the day before killing the children stating that she had, quote, a touch of postpartum anxiety, end quote, around returning to work. She wrote that her psychiatrist had prescribed medication to help her. The defendant was initially diagnosed according to her.
I mean, this is a nurse. She is a nurse. Wouldn't she have, why can't I wrap my head around this? Not one, not two, but 3 children. Isn't 2023, guys, starting off with, I don't know what's going on in this world. This is just sad. I feel bad for her too.
Her husband with generalized anxiety disorder. She was then evaluated at the Women and Center for Women's Behavioral Health December 2022. There, after an evaluation, she was told in the presence of her husband that by psychiatrists,
this mistake is
that she did not have postpartum depression and that she had no symptoms of postpartum depression. She wrote,
I agree, Jess. I would, there would be forgiving myself after what I did to him. But you see what they just said. After seeing a psychiatrist, they say she had no postpartum depression, but her best friend was saying that she had postpartum psychosis. And she just, I don't understand. I'm embarrassed to the fact, honestly, guys, that they're just filming her laying in bed like this. I don't understand what the whole part of them showing her laying there, but obviously she okayed it. I mean, I don't know.
Wrote in her journal that at times she had suicidal ideation in December of 2022. And she also told her husband that she had suicidal thoughts and on one occasion had thoughts of harming her children. But she did not write or voice those thoughts after a stay at McLean Hospital. When she had those thoughts, she consulted with a psychiatrist and with her husband, and then she committed herself to McLean Hospital on January 1st, 2023. She was discharged by the hospital on January 5th, 2023. And the hospital did not file any paperwork at that time attempting to have her committed as a danger to her or others. Stop that medication or wean off of it. And they were trying different medications to see what would work for her, what would benefit her. According to her husband, she was never on more than 4 to 5 medications at one time. And at the time of the murder, she was taking only 3 medications. And he said to the police that she always took the medications as prescribed. After her stay at McLean, the defendant appeared to be getting better, according to her husband. She slept well, interacted with friends and family. She went out with her kids and husband to places like the Kingsbury Club in Duxbury, the Charlie Horse Restaurant, the Museum of Science in Boston, the Cape Codder down the Cape, interacting with her family and the public without any apparent difficulties. She even stayed alone with the children on several occasions without any issues in January of 2023. Her husband asked her in mid-January, "Are you still having suicidal thoughts?" And she said no.
Damn.
The defendant's parents visited the family the weekend of January 21st, 2023. They interacted with the defendant in person. The defendant was able to run errands while her mom watched the children. She texted back and forth with her mother. And there was nothing. In fact, the defendant texted her mother or home. On that, Patrick Clancy was interviewed by the police at Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth Hospital. He told the police that the defendant was having one of her best days. She was smiling and happy, and there was no indication that she was going to harm the kids. No one at all. described her as acting like a zombie in the days leading up to the murder or on the day of the murders themselves. On February 5th, 2023, this past Sunday at 1:35 p.m., while sitting with Dr. Paul Zeisel, the psychologist hired by defense counsel to evaluate her mental state, the defendant used Dr. Zeisel's cell phone to call her husband. She left a voicemail stating that she loved him. Yesterday, on February 6, 2023, at 10:09 a.m., she again used Dr. Zeisel's cell phone to call her husband. This time he answered, and during this call, the defendant stated that after he left the house that night, she killed the kids, heard of him before. The first time she used that word psychosis was with a doctor hired by defense counsel.
Like, my mouth is just like hanging open. I really hope that nobody drives by and looks in a window. Hey, Kaz. Come on up, Kaz. We're going to do the Pressie on Nicola after, and then we're just going to wrap it up. But, like, why does this one have me so confused? I mean, I know what happened, but I just don't understand it. And I think her laying there like that, staring at me, is throwing me off.
And using his cell phone. To know her phone, 3 children, because they prevent me from treating like that.
How weird is that? The Callan is the 9-month-old. So she felt bad because she couldn't treat Callan like the first child. I've heard a lot of things, guys, and I've seen a lot of stories where parents do horrible things to their children, but I'm not sure I've ever heard somebody say that they couldn't treat the third born like a firstborn. If you guys have heard of this, please let me know, but I have never, not even a scenario close to what I'm hearing right now. That's bizarre. There's definitely something not right with her.
I was feeling so depressed. I'm unconscious, anywhere from 10 seconds up to a minute. The more the victim struggles, the longer it takes. After the victim is unconscious, the ligature must be held in place with force, squeezing the neck for up to an additional 4 to 5 minutes to cause death. Therefore, she had to strangle each of them to unconsciousness and then make sure the bands were squeezing their little necks for several minutes. She could have changed her mind at any point during that time and removed those bands from their necks, and she did not. The defendant did not take advantage of the situation when her husband left the home that night. She created the situation, and she used Apple Maps to make sure she would have strangled her murders, gave herself the time and privacy needed to commit the murders, and then she strangled each child in the place where they should have felt the safest, at home with their mom. She did so with deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity and cruelty. And to supplement what the defense counsel has provided, I have a statement of their argument to file with the court.
That was it for this one. I don't even know what to think about that. Hey, Matt. No, we're not live, Matt. We're hiding in the bushes. Kaz, come on up. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, her best friend did say that she was suffering from psychosis. Her husband said no, he's never heard of it. And that was pretty planned, in my opinion. Sad. All right. So, Nicola Bulley. Let me see something real fast, guys. 1 second. Before I play this video. That's what I thought. What do you guys think about that? Specialist team pulls out of search. Oh, we're going to get into that in a minute. So it's Friday was a week. This Friday will be 2 weeks that she supposedly fell into this river. And I'm going to show you guys a video in the house. But I need Kaz. Hey, Matt. How far away are you from Lancashire? Oh, hang on 1 second, guys. Let me open the press conference. I have a feeling that Lindsay is definitely going to be going for a couple of psychological evaluations because you can't be normal to do something like that. Something has to be off. I'm going to start this, guys, and go grab a water. We got sound. And what? Oh, here we go. Come on, Sally.
Trying through them in.
Sally looks tired. Matt, one of the search teams has left the scene 36 minutes ago.
We have officer through this enormous amount of information. This is normal in a missing person inquiry and does not indicate that there is any suspicious element to this story.
I'm going to grab a drink. Be right back.
Fully any Nicola is or what happened to her. Some of the specific pieces of information and the lines of inquiry that they've been undertaking include house to house in the village, piece of data that inquiry, identifying and tracing and speaking to key witnesses, a number of whom have come into the inquiry and been spoken to and given information. Digital and telephony, this includes Nicola's Fitbit and her mobile phone, which has been fully examined. And we've now identified around 700 vehicles that drove through the village on that process of speaking to all of those drivers to try and find out if they have any dash cam footage, what they saw on that day, or anything else that may be of value to the police inquiry. We remain very grateful to all of our partners and the wider community for the help. In particular, I've mentioned some of these in the past. This includes His Majesty's Coast Guard, Lancashire Fire and Rescue, Lancaster Area and Bowland Mountain Rescue, other forces and national family free of charge, and have been working under the direction of our local police search teams. Work at Riverbank continues, and this includes many pieces of different technical equipment, including this makes it particularly complex. We have already to those searches. Why I see some areas already searched, being researched for no other reason than it is tidal. We have
Brenda.
6.
This is insane.
Especially who experience people inquiries and in other inquiries who are systematic. We also have a number of divers from the Regional Underwater Search Unit, and they are working with SGI and the other partners that I have mentioned to search the river itself. Any and factual to try and trace Nicola and bring down answers for her family. And negated as
Okay, I have to say something. She is like everything is like conflicting with the first thing she says. At first, they're convinced she didn't leave the park, but then the one street where that a couple of abandoned houses are. Cass and I went through the real estate, but it's just hard figuring out things over there. And the piece of property that's abandoned, that they claimed the owner went in and searched because, you know, he just happened to be there the day that she fell in the water. I'm going to show you guys. It's a huge, huge house. And I really do hope that it's been searched more than just the owner going in and saying she's not in there. But there's a lot of properties that nobody lives on that road. The same road that there's no CCTV footage leaving the park, which I find, I just don't feel she's in the water. I think she would have floated up. She would have been found, because I'm going to show you guys the house, and they're actually walking down the river, and there's like a not like a dam, but there's like this one part that goes across the river to where it looks like it's somehow recycling the water. I don't know what it is. But then that big house is there. It's like a mansion, and other properties. And you can see the guys walking down the middle of the river outside of the boat, and they're pulling the boat. It doesn't make sense to me.
Inquiry, and we remain already identified by the original divers and discounted. So further sightings of that debris are only items that we already knew were on the riverbed or in the riverbank. To her family, to her children, to her partner Paul, her parents, her sister, and her friends, because it's not helpful to them. It's distressing, and it's distracting for the police inquiry area to take it upon themselves to take the law into their hands by trying to, for example, break into empty property.
Ooh.
They may mean well, they may want to help, but they can help in
Okay. So the first interview a couple of days ago, that they didn't search it. They can't search these properties until they get a warrant to even go in there and search it. So now it sounds to me like there's just people going in there and searching the properties for the police. But like, why are you not in those properties already? They might have been by now, but here she goes again saying that people are now breaking into these abandoned properties. I don't get it. I think I'm confused today.
Yes. Agency who have reviewed all the police investigations so far and have not identified any other lines of inquiry other than what we had already identified. Not identified anything in the search strategy or the search area, the physical parameters that we have not read. Possible lines of inquiry, search or investigation are being exhausted. I'm just going to reiterate for those who may not have caught some early detail, that Nicola was last seen on the upper field next to the River Wyre here in St Michael's at 9:10. She had taken her spaniel Willow out for a walk.
I also heard from a comment somewhere that supposedly her dog hated the water. I don't know what that means or anything, or maybe that's why the dog wasn't wet in case Nicola fell in the river, why the dog didn't go in. But I'm still trying to find out how you fall into this river. You may roll into the river, but I don't think you're going to fall in the river. I mean, Cass and I were talking about it. Like, if I was walking down this riverbank and I fell, you might roll a little bit, but like, it's all grass and overgrown brush. Like, how are you going to fall into a river that's on a slope? And she's 45 and in shape in a 10-minute window. Nobody heard her scream. I mean, this is crazy to me. It's almost like asinine to where, like, we're talking about a 10-minute window from when she was gone, from the conference call ending to where someone found her phone on the bench and recognized the screensaver of whose phone it was, and then called the partner at home, and he comes running to the scene. I don't know about the partner.
Looked at shows that Nicola did not leave either the allotment lane exit
or other area. So she didn't leave through those areas, but the area back on the path where the houses are that are abandoned, there is absolutely no CCTV. I was hoping Matt would go for a ride and take us there.
only leaves the path along.
And that's the road.
Morning will help us to close that very small gap. We can say with confidence, therefore, Nicola remained in the riverside area. I understand that this is frustrating for those observing the investigation when the river has been searched and Nicola has not been found. That does not mean, however, that Nicola was not in the river at some point due to the tidal flow of the river. For this reason, our search of the river and the riverbanks extends out to the sea, particularly the area from Knott End out towards Morecambe. So we continue with the driving, and I remind people Nicola, 5'3" with shoulder-length brown hair. She speaks with an Essex accent. She was last seen wearing a knee-length black gilet jacket and underneath an Engelbert Strauss black long-sleeve jacket to the waist. She was wearing black jeans, long green walking socks tucked into her jeans, and green ankle-length wellies. She has her hair tied and was wearing a pale blue Fitbit.
Yeah, where's the Fitbit info?
I have a small number of detail extra to the timeline that I provided on Friday that fills in some of the gaps on the morning that Nicola disappeared. So the 8 a.m. that have been released. May memory. At 8:40, Nicola dropped her children off at school here in St Michael's. At 8:43, she was seen on the river path towards the gate and the bench on the lower field. At 8:47, someone who knows Nicola saw her walking along the lower field with her dog, and the two dogs briefly interacted together. At 8:53, she sent an email to her boss. At 8:59, she sent a friend. At 9:01, she logged onto a Teams call. And at 9:10, we had the last confirmed sighting of Nicola on the upper field walking her dog. We know from telephony work that her phone was located on the bench at 9:20. At 9:30 and at 9:33, approximately, her phone and her dog were found by a witness. And to phone us on 101, or if there's a sighting of Nicola or under arrest, details of this are published on our website. It is Nicola investigation at lancashire.police.uk. Nicola Bulley investigation at lancashire.police.uk. I just want to end by holding Nicola's family in our thoughts. And for particularly to find Nicola, and to ask everyone to remain constructive, inquiry, not to do anything that would thwart us trying to remain respectful to a tightening force, as have our partners, and I would thank them again very much for their work so far. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions.
The phone could be a decoy, that there could be third-party involvement. How helpful is that for you when the police is saying its hypothesis is that she somehow fell into the water, and yet you've got a part of the team investigating this case basically contradicting?
Well, I think to the team, as I said before, our search has not found Nicola in the river, and then a research in parts by SGI have found the same. That does not mean, as I said a few minutes ago, that Nicola has not been in the river. And in the light of then clearly our main belief is that Nicola did fall into the river.
Oh, gosh.
And sorts of press conferences. So we would ask that we be allowed time to continue with those inquiries and to release to the public
She's so polite.
number passed through the village that morning. Clearly not everyone or negate whether they have anything that they could help us with. No, they've been spoken to. Thank you. Hello.
All right, that one cut out on the questions. Let's go listen to her partner real fast before we get into this latest update that they're saying. Her partner was out on the scene today, and basically some private dive team is leaving. I'm going to show you. And they tell him that she may never be found again. Like, that's not nice. But I want you guys to watch the partner. The partner of Nicola. This is the father of the two kids. And this is what he has to say. This was a little mind-blowing. You tell me what you guys think about this.
My whole focus is stay as strong as I can for them. I'm scared that if I put any focus into anything else, it's going to take my, focus off that. So I've got to be very careful. Just hoping to goodness that anything comes out from being so tiny. Just say a massive thank you to the community, friends, for everything that they're doing. It's absolutely incredible. I just can't believe that we're a week on, and as yet, it seems like
Look at his
no
eyes, guys. Just the eyes.
You're trying to make sense of the census, aren't you? It is just such a mystery.
Yeah, it is. There's just every single scenario comes to a brick wall, every single one of them, and then all we're doing is sitting there going round and round and round, going through every scenario, and then go back to the first scenario again and do the whole thing again, and it's just all day long. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
How it must be difficult. The first isn't this, and it has to be, but
Yeah.
it must be so difficult.
I know. I don't want to actually think about that. Focus just about the girls. That's it. I'm there for them. I don't want to really elaborate on that. I don't want to take my eye off that.
It must be heartwarming. Hundreds of people trying.
Amazing. It's the only thing that we can take is this world. It gives us a great amount of comfort knowing that that's going on. Not anything else, do we?
Well, there's hope.
There's We're never going to lose.
Something about him.
Now, it is as though.
Hey, Tara. Something weird about him, right? He never once even mentions her. I miss her. Come home. And don't forget when he had that one little video with his daughter in the car and she says, oh, they're looking for mommy. Like, why are you going to tell your children that right now? And here he is today. And then I have to wrap it up, guys. I'm actually on a lunch break. And then today, earlier today, here he is. Nicola's partner frustrated as search team warns she may never be found. Frustrated partner has visited the scene of her disappearance as search teams prepare to leave the river after warning that the mother of two may never be found. He spent 2 hours near the riverbank in St. Michael's where Nicola, 45, vanished while walking her dog on January 27th. Peter Falding, a specialist underwater search expert, said Mr. Ansell was a very upset man and wanted to visit the spot where his partner was last seen. Mr. Falding revealed that his special group international team would be stopping its search of the River Wyre, having failed to find any sign of Miss Bulley on Wednesday. After speaking with the search team on the banks of the river, Mr. Ansell was told, she's not here. He was then offered a seat in the back of an incident support van. He could be seen talking animatedly in the back seat of the vehicle, at one point holding his head to his hands. He stayed at the scene for around 2 hours, hugging family members and speaking to Mr. Falding before driving away. Speaking after Mr. Ansell had left, Mr. Falding told the Telegraph he is a frustrated man because obviously he has no partner. It is a very difficult situation to be with such an upset man. It's tough dealing with Paul. You hear what he is going through, and with his kids coming home to no mom at night. After spending the past 2 days combing the riverbed with a state-of-art 1,000 pounds sonar kit that never before. We don't know. No one knows. It is unusual. Am I even reading this? She may never be found. We don't know. No one knows. It's an unusual because usually you have some evidence. Here we have nothing. We have nothing to go on apart from a phone and a harness, said Mr. Falding. The team was brought in after Miss Bulley's family disputed the police's belief that the most likely explanation for her disappearance was she had fallen into the river. In recent days, Mr. Falding has voiced the opinion that Miss Bulley is not in the river at all and that the third party may be involved. Thank you. He also has claimed that her phone found on the bench near where she went missing could have been a decoy. Lancashire Constabulary, I probably said that wrong. What even is that? Is that a police? Has said that despite the lack of clear evidence, the mother of two most likely slipped and fell into the River Wyre by walking her dog, Willow. Superintendent Sally told reporters that Mr. Falding was not included in all the investigation detail and knew nothing more than an ordinary member of the public. So look at this little bank right here, though. I mean, I don't understand how you fall into the river. It's controlled by tides. The deepest river. So the deepest part of this river, guys, is 15 feet. But can be as low as just over a foot. So here he is walking in the river up to his, just below his hip area. So after announcing that the team would be calling off the search, Mr. Falding said he believed that Miss Bulley was in the river. She would have surfaced by now. Well, come on, guys. That only makes sense unless somebody weighed her down. But then again, it's 15 feet. Most bodies are found by members of the public, and that's what I'm surprised about, that Nicola hasn't been found so far. At this point, it's open. The police are continuing their investigation. What about that? Let me show you guys one more thing before I wrap it up. I'm going to show you the river and this big mansion. Just one of the houses that is actually vacant in this area. I wish Matt would drive by. Kitty, you want to say hi? No? Let me just show you. And you can actually see. I mean, some parts are steep, like higher. I can get that. But I just don't see it being as you fall into the river. Maybe roll in the river. Huh. Like roll down the hill. But then if you're making any noise and people are walking their dogs, how come nobody heard her? And Nicola, look at his eyes. He has Chris Watts' eyes. There's the day that she went missing. Here's the river that she fell into, 15 feet at the deepest point. And on the edge, you saw the guy walking in it. And then let me find the pictures of the mansion. Actually, let me just go show you. Let me find that. Then I want to show you guys the other properties that are on this road. There's a lot of properties for sale on this road. All right, here it is. I don't want to get the street name wrong. Grangster, I think. Grangster. Here it is. So this is the house that's abandoned. And as Kaz was trying to explain it to me, it's something like you can't sell these houses. And then when you can't afford it, you don't pay for the upkeep anymore. But this is where the owner was that just happened to be at the property the day that Nicola went missing. I don't even know who he is. It's very hard to find these things out when you're trying to get information in the UK. But there's the house, there's the river. But you see what I'm saying, guys, as far as like falling into the river? I don't think you would fall into it. You might fall and roll down a little bit, but it's not like she's 100 years old. She's 45 years old and in shape. And the whole conference call, like being connected to the conference call, but the mic and the cam were not together. Let me go see. Let me show you guys these other properties on Grangster Road that are, if I can find it in history, because I really have like 6 minutes and I've got to get my butt back to work. Let me get the name of this road. Garstang. Okay, that's the name. Garstang. Garstang. All right, let me find my history. All right, let me open both of these real quick. Okay. Now, I don't know if they got the warrants to search the property or what the problem is and why they're not searching these properties, or if they have, but just have a look at how many properties are available on this road. In this area, in St. Michael's. And they're big properties. So you've got here 36 Garstone, 32 Garstone, Acorn Barn off of Garstone Road. And all of these properties are abandoned. And they're cheap. Not too many pictures though. We would have to go in to look at the maps one night, but there's like 4, I could find 4 properties that are for sale and empty on this road in St. Michael's. And then of course we got the mansion. So hopefully they're going to go search the properties, or they've already have, because those are some big properties, guys. Seriously big properties. So Matt might know if they've searched the properties. I myself don't believe that she floated out to the sea in a matter of 10 minutes. I mean, she could have, right? Anything's possible. And I don't see her falling into the river. We're going to have to wait and see, hopefully. Hopefully she ran away from her boyfriend. But you didn't find that weird, the boyfriend's interview? Like, there was no plea to where she was. I mean, even Chris Watts made a plea for Shanann and the girls. This guy was just like, I can't even talk about it because I'm going to get upset. What? Your partner's missing. Where are the car keys? I mean, was the car left there? Like, they don't talk about anything. It's like, I want to know more. So I was hoping that Matt would have taken a ride to St. Michael's, but I don't know how far he is. I'm going to give him a call on my way back to my job. Everyone have a great day. I hope you all come around tonight, 11:30 p.m. for Crowburger Chronicles. And keep your baby safe, guys, and stay vigilant, because this world is getting scary. Like the man that drove his family off the cliff in California and all of them survived. Just, I don't know what's going on. Or the video I put out of the doctor getting hit by a motorist, and then the guy purposely hits him, drives up out of his car and stabs the ER doctor, and then he dies at the hospital. Yelling white privilege, and meanwhile the guy is half white on his father's side. His father's white, and his mom is Jamaican, from Jamaica. So make that make sense. Can't. The world is scary, guys. I'm going to go build my bunker. I'll see you guys later.